Hi guys.
Hi.
So I told you guys I'd give you an update after my appointment earlier today.
We forgot it.
Yeah, kind of. When we both had to work, so we're getting off work, getting settled in. So I figured I'd give you a quick video. Not to mention a lot has transpired since that appointment. So the appointment went well. They said I had 15 on the right, 15 follicles on the right.
15 on the right and 16 on the left, or 17
on the left. Yeah. So that's good. The doctor would like to see 20, but they're not worried about it because there's a few more days until insemination day. So tomorrow.
They expect it to be 20 by the time
Correct.
IUI rolls around.
Correct. So tomorrow I will do my trigger shot. The time on that has changed, and we will get into that here shortly. And then my IUI, yeah, it's been nuts. So my IUI is still scheduled for Monday, but again, the time for that has changed. So at the appointment, the nurse said that she would call me later to give me the time of the appointment to confirm it. My initial time was 8:30. So I'm at work. She calls me. She says, "Hey, you're scheduled for 8:30 a.m. So you'll do your trigger shot Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. Perfect. Let's go." And then maybe an hour later, I get another call from her, and I'm like, "This seems weird, but okay." They close at noon on Fridays. So they close at noon on Fridays, and she calls me back at like 3:30. Like,
not ideal.
This is weird. So she's like, "Hey, I'm calling you back. We've got a problem." That's not what I want to hear.
That's never good.
Yeah. So she's like, "They just did the genetic. They compared your blood results on the genetic testing with your donors, and your donor is CMV positive, and you are CMV negative, and we can't do that." She's like, "It's not gonna work because if your donor is positive and you're negative, your baby will be positive and they will give it to you, which can make you really sick, and your baby could come out with some genetic issues,
neurological issues, blindness, deafness, learning disabilities, stuff like that. It's a low chance. I wouldn't say low.
20%.
It's not a high chance, but it's not something that we're willing to risk for that.
So 1 in 5 chance.
Yeah, and it could make her really sick. It could make the baby really sick.
So I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me." Mind you, it's Friday at
3:30.
3:30. By the time I get off the phone with her, it's about 3:45, almost 4 o'clock. I'm like, my insemination is scheduled for Monday, which means we are back to the drawing board on finding a donor. That's been the longest process of this whole thing.
Yeah, that took us the longest, like figuring out what exactly we wanted, and
so
we didn't even know we didn't look anything up. Like, our doctor never told us what CMV was. Like, we could see it on all the donor websites, like CMV status, and I'm like,
so
what is this? I looked it up, and it's like 50 to 80% of adults have it. Like,
rewind to that, because we did this question and answer type panel thing with Cryobank. Like, they had a thing, and somebody asked that question, like, what is CMV positive and negative? And they just blew it off. They're like, "Oh, it's no big deal. It's not an issue.
It affects all adults, almost all adults. Like, you get it when you're a kid, and everybody's got antibodies.
Pretty much like a cold. Like, they just completely blew it off, and we hadn't even bought our sperm at that point. So we weren't thinking that it was an issue, and at that time I didn't even have my blood work done to do my labs, which is on me. Like, I just got that done on what's today?
About a little over a week
The 22nd is when I got
a couple weeks ago then.
Yeah, it was the 30th. It was the 30th because I went back the week after. So it was like 29th or the 30th I got my labs done for the genetic testing. So I call her and I'm like, "We got a problem. we have to find a new donor, and it's got to be there by Monday morning at 8:30.
Meanwhile, we're both at work. She's on her district. I'm on mine. I'm trying to take runs. Like, I got all this stuff going on. And she's like, we got to find a new donor. And now I'm like, what's this mean for my donor? Like, I don't know what my status is. I've had blood work done, but I haven't looked over it.
Yeah. So I get off the phone with her. I'm like, I got to get on the phone with Fairfax. And, well, I had to get on the phone with Fairfax. Well, before I did that, I had to find another Korean donor because my donor is Korean.
Yeah.
Now I know he's got to be CMV negative. So I do what's the word I'm looking for? Like not a search. Well, it is a search, but like you narrow it down or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm narrowing down the search on that. Korean negative CMV. There's two.
Which there's not a lot of Korean donors, period.
So I sent her the two that's available, and one of them that we kind of looked at before, not really giving it a whole lot of thought, but we're like, we'll go with it. So I call Fairfax, and I'm like, hey, I have an issue. I have a vial here for my insemination on Monday, but I cannot use it because he is CMV positive. I've got 3 extra vials there. I need to sell those back, and I need to order this new donors, and I need it here stat.
Real quick, I just want to say, like, I cannot stress enough how much thought and how much stress and how long, like, we bought profiles with Fairfax, Zytex, Cryo USA, California Cryobank, Seattle. We went through hundreds and hundreds of donor profiles and, compared this one to this one, this one to this one. It's just a lot. And then it was kind of like, figured out right this second. Like, we did a little research before, but it was like, we found out today, hey, you gotta figure it out like right now and call them right now and pick one.
Because we didn't really have time. Like it had to get shipped. So
very rushed.
I call the lady. I'm like, hey, I have an insemination scheduled for Monday morning at 8:30. Is there any way I can get sperm here that fast? And she's like, I mean, we could put a rush on it, but you're gonna have to pay extra for that. And I don't, she's like, so you need it shipped out Monday? I'm like, no, like, I need it here Monday. And she's like, I don't think we're going to be able to do that. Even if we put a rush on it, like, I don't think that's going to happen. So she goes ahead and orders. So I do a swap. The 3 that I have there, I swap out one. I tell her I want to buy back the other one. And she tells me that the one that's already here, we're out of that money. They can't take it back. They can't return it because it's already shipped here. It's out of their hands. So that's $1,100 that gone into the trash can. It makes me sick.
Plus the $330 to get the new one rushed here. So almost $1,500.
Plus the shipping, because it costs $300 to ship that vial here.
That's what I just said.
No, you said
the first one.
Yeah, the first one.
Oh, yeah. So now we're up to like $1,700.
$1,700 just gone.
That hurts.
Sickening.
I could buy a lot of tools with that.
Okay, so she tells me they'll buy back the 2 that I've got there, swap out the other one, and get it shipped. But like I said, it won't be here. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, then I'll just sell back. I'll have you guys buy back all 3. Like, if I can't get it here, then I'm not gonna just rush.
We'll just do it next round.
Yeah. So she's like, give me a second. Let me look into some things. And I'm like, okay. So she calls the general manager, I think. Somebody pretty high up with Fairfax. I'm on hold for a while. And she gets back on the phone and she's like, okay, I just talked to the manager. It might have even been a regional manager. Like, it was somebody higher up.
Yeah.
She was like, for your inconvenience, we're going to go ahead on the buyback. Once it's purchased, you can't get it back for 100%. They only give you back 50% of what you paid for it.
And it's still there. Like, it's not left. It's been in the same... We're paying for storage.
Yeah.
Up there.
Yeah. So she's like, for your inconvenience, we're going to go ahead and refund you 100% for the 3 vials that you still have left here. And then we'll do a separate order instead of a swap for the new sperm that you're buying. And then we're going to go ahead and put a rush on that priority and have it shipped out now. She's like, I'll send you an email as soon as it gets shipped out. So about an hour and a half later, I got an email from FedEx saying that it was shipped. So she said it'll be there Monday between 8:30 and 12, between 8 and 12:30. And I'm like, okay, I can breathe now. So I call back the nurse and I'm like, hey, I've got new sperm on the way. It'll be here between 8 and 12:30. And she's like, okay, well, since the latest that it's going to be there is 12:30, we're going to go ahead and schedule the insemination for 12:30. So that means you're going to take your trigger shot now, Sunday morning at 12:30 a.m. I think we can both breathe.
Yeah.
Like 10
I'm
minutes.
very grateful though that Fairfax
Yeah.
refunded 100%. Like they didn't have to do that.
No.
That was our mistake. We didn't know.
So if you guys are
Right.
in this process, we had talked to our doctor before, like at the beginning, before any kind of purchasing of any sperm. We talked to him and I was like, do we need to get genetic testing done? Like,
We
in the
asked
beginning,
those questions.
and he's like, no, just all you need to do is just go ahead and the first thing is to find your sperm, have it shipped here, and then we'll do the insemination. Like, and we kept talking, like,
Get
they seem like they're like real, like lackadaisy,
nonchalant
like,
about
yeah,
this whole
nonchalant,
thing.
like, yeah, it's fine, it's simple, blah, blah, blah. So we're like, all right. So that's what we did. And then literally 2 days before the insemination, they're like,
Surprise!
your genetic testing is not in line with his. So
Yeah.
do that first. I mean,
It's not genetic. It's not genetic testing. It's just
that's what it's called, genetic testing. Look on there.
That's not his genetics. His CMV status has anything to do with his genetics. It's just his blood work or whatever. But the bottom line is, make sure you're asking if you have any sort of doubts or you don't understand something. Like, this is not usually my style. Like, if I'm gonna do anything, I'm like research, and I just haven't done that because I've been trusting medical professionals to tell me what I need to know without asking. It's partly on me, like without asking those questions.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I don't know, and I really need.
So I would say
asking
the
more.
first step of this process, if you guys are thinking about it, get your blood work done. Find a fertility clinic. If you aren't happy with something going on with the doctor, find another clinic. Like, don't settle. Get your blood work done. If he says you don't need it, I want it done. And have a printout of your labs before you pick your donor. Otherwise, you are literally throwing money away. Like, it makes me sick on how much money was wasted. Granted, we're getting a little bit of it back, but it's still a lot just thrown in the trash. So,
I mean, if you could just have CMV like everybody else.
nah.
I don't even know if I have CMV. I haven't looked at mine, so we'll see.
Her donor has it, and she doesn't even know if she's got hers or not. And her insemination is supposed to be next week. So.
CMV is like in the chickenpox, herpes, mono family. So I'm like, please give me that herpes CMV.
Yeah.
How messed up is that?
I had chicken pox though when I was a kid. I don't.
It's not. It's in the same family. It's not.
All right, guys, we've been rambling long enough.
And she just shot me up earlier.
Oh yeah, I did want to talk about that. So
I've been taking my meds. They put me on a different med, stronger medication.
So this is Babe's 3rd month now on the fertility meds.
And put things in perspective, she had 16 on one side, 17 on the other, and I had 0. So it's not looking real good for me. But
And
I had a couple like small follicles.
And my
nothing mature.
AMH.
Yeah, and your AMH was
My AMH was 5.76 and yours was
0.6.
0.6. So that's kind of where we're at with her. They've switched up the medication. She switched her to Clomid,
Clomid and higher dosage of the Gonal.
which is the shots that she's been taking. So today was her first round of shots again for the second month now on a higher dose. And she's been on the medication for 3 days now on the Clomid. She'll go Wednesday. She had her baseline yesterday? Day before
2 days ago,
yesterday.
yeah.
So she'll go back on Wednesday for another ultrasound to see if she's got follicles.
And if it looks like anything, then he may put me on more shots for a couple days and then come back and reassess. But if it doesn't look good, then we're gonna have to. I'm kind of
Hit the drawing
done
board.
going this route. We're gonna have to figure something else out.
We're gonna speak positivity.
Yeah.
Anyway, so. That's where we're at. I'll give you guys some footage tomorrow of Babe giving me my trigger shot. And I will do my best on recording the insemination. I love you.
Love you too.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right,
I
guys.
just want it to happen at this point. Let's go.
Yeah. All right, we're logging off for the night. Yeah, she's feeling a little queasy after her
Sometimes I feel
shots.
weird.
So, thanks for stopping by and watching this video. Make sure you go ahead and like,
Comment.
subscribe, and hit that
Bell.
bell.
I tried to do it fast for you.